An investigation by the Times of London has found that the so-called war on terror has created a web of bribery, fraud, and waste centered on United States military contractors across the two war zones. A recent U.S. Senate report states that in addition to offering contracts to companies with ties to Iranian intelligence, the Pentagon has been hiring private security companies in Afghanistan that are suspected of having ties to the Taliban and links to criminal networks. At the latest count, investigators for the U.S. Special Inspector General for Iraq Reconstruction were working on 110 suspected fraud cases. So far, at least a dozen U.S. Army procurement officers have been convicted of taking kickbacks for awarding Pentagon contracts to corrupt suppliers. General David Petraeus, the U.S. commander in Afghanistan, has said military supply contracts are, quote, the source of enormous funding in this country and part of the problem of corruption. A U.S. investigation into alleged fraud by Agility, a Kuwaiti logistics group and supplier to the U.S. Armed Forces, underlines Washington's struggle to maintain oversight on its military supply chain. Agility has been a food supplier to U.S. troops since 2003. The company was stripped of its $8.5 billion contract last year and indicted for allegedly overcharging the Pentagon by $68 million. It denies the charges. The Agility case has thrown a spotlight on other Gulf companies. Agility's canceled contract was subsequently awarded to Anam, a group in Dubai. A congressional committee has requested that Anam provide documents as part of a wider investigation into claims that transport companies in Afghanistan have paid protection money to the Taliban for safe passage. Anam denies those charges as well. A separate U.S. Army investigation into protection payments made by some transport companies is continuing. John Tierney, the Democratic chairman of the committee conducting the investigation, said, quote, "If shown to be true, it would mean that the United States is unintentionally engaged in a vast protection racket and, as such, may be indirectly funding the very insurgents we're trying to fight."